The Bronx Music Podcast is made possible in part by underwriting grants from City Council members Eric Dinowitz and Althea Stevens. Today's episode is produced through the program services of Project Media Zone, a community-based 501c3 media organization whose mission is to democratize media production of positive and informative content.
Even the Gun Hill, from Freeman Street to Prospect Avenue, Fordham Road, Car City to Elder Avenue, Valley Park, Eaton Wall to Bronx River, Bronx Deal, Soundview, S-Bar, baby. I'm boogie down like this Choke King, man. We go within the playground.
Hey everybody, welcome to Podcast Land. This is episode 27 of the Bronx Music Podcast. You can applaud for that, right? I mean, you know, when we got to 26, I had no idea we'd get to 27, but here we are. We have a nice crowd, family and friends actually here at the Artist on City Island, and the usual cast of characters are here. Elliot Glick from The Artist, he and Monica, this is their house, and we appreciate, yes, of course, you can applaud. George Williams, who I've known for way too many years, but we're still playing together, and so George is our technical director. The Bronx Music, we're giving you all the basic stuff first. Yeah, you can applaud everybody and everything. Bronx Music Podcast with Gary Axelbank, that's me, is produced through the services of George's non-for-profit Project Media Zone, and I'm proud to say that the Bronx Music Podcast, excuse me, receives underwriting support from New York City Council members Eric Dinowitz and Althea Stevens, and consultation support came this time around from Teddy Volkswagen. Please make sure to share us on YouTube and like us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, where you can find out all the info. All right, that's the business. Now the real business. Our guests today, ACUTE Inflections. Here they are. Thank you. A little applause, please. Elisea Douglas on vocals, Siddiqui Pierre playing that string bass, that beautiful instrument that we see behind us. So I'm going to read this. This was on the materials you sent, so everybody knows who you are. Their novel interpretations of well-known songs, along with their thought-provoking and infectious original music, make them one of New York City's hidden treasures. These lifelong friends regularly perform at corporate events, weddings, and upscale events meant to impress. Hearing and seeing them improvise while freely traveling between genres is an immensely delightful experience, an artistic collaboration of the highest order. Congratulations for getting to this point. Thank you so much for joining us. Elisea, why does this work for you? What works about this? What makes this work, especially after all the years and all the miles?
It makes money. No, it works because it feels right. It feels natural. We have a great synergy together, Siddiqui and I. Feels cosmic, as woo as that sounds, but it really, just even how we met was cosmic in itself. And just the knowing that this is where I'm supposed to be, because it's just so unconventional.
If you think I'm not going to ask you how you met and why, because you made it clear to me that that the bottom line here is a musical connection. So
well, I like him too. I'm like he's
well. Listen, you know, I told you I'm not going to get involved.
He's used around in the house. He's useful around the house.
But tell me, so how did you meet? What was cosmic about that?
Well.
Here we go. I knew I'd get dirty right away.
Well, she was performing on Broadway. I was in the audience, and she noticed me and started pursuing me, and eventually I gave her a chance. And that's how we got
This is a real doctored version, doctored out.
Pretty much what happened.
No, actually, he came to a show that
already, I'm sorry I asked.
Yeah, right. No, he came to a show that I produced with my castmates from the show Fela on Broadway. Up to that point, I had no idea he even existed on the planet.
Oh, but you saw him in the audience. You said, that's the guy.
I had no idea. I didn't. So it was after that particular show that we did in Brooklyn that I was going around saying hello to everyone who came to see my set and happened to stumble upon him and his friend. And I said hello. And we got to talking, as they say, we got to talking. He ended up dropping me home because it was a very cold night in February. So he drove me home.
It's so romantic.
I know. And he's never left my side since.
Wow, isn't that something? But then at what point, now we're going to get into each of your backgrounds, but at what point musically did you say, wait a minute, why don't you play the bass and I'll sing? Or was this a progressive thing that developed?
It kind of happened by accident. Well, I didn't even know he played the bass until...
Till you went into his house and you saw this thing standing in the
No,
corner.
I wish I saw this standing
Oh,
in the
okay.
corner. It wasn't even in the house. He just happened to always be really musically inclined. So whenever I asked him some advice when I was doing my own music
Because
project.
you had already been a singer and he had seen you on Broadway.
Yeah, and then I had my own little side project that I was working on. And in that particular conversation, I said, how come you know so much about music? And that's when he decides to tell me that he used to play the bass, hadn't played it in 10 years, and currently his bass is in Philly. His friend has it, and he plays it in the rain for Irish parades.
That was a one-time thing. She acts like every time it rains, he ran outside with the bass to.
Whatever
find-
it was.
So wait a minute. Listen, we're moving into the biographical stuff. So you did take 10 years off, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But then when you saw her singing, you didn't go right away and say, hey, she can really sing, and I want to play bass with her?
No, because I'm not a professional. I didn't go to school for it. It was a hobby growing up, so I'm not arrogant enough to see her singing on Broadway at the highest level and say, hey, I used to be good at the bass in high school 10 years ago.
He's so
Can I
sweet.
play it?
Isn't he sweet? He's
No, it's
very
just
sweet.
realistic. I'm not going to
Okay.
embarrass myself. You know?
Okay, all right.
So that's why I
fair
didn't
enough.
mention it. You know?
Elicia, so as I understand, I mean, you're a gifted singer and songwriter, but also you're a dancer and an actress, and you've kind of been an entertainer. You started in church. Talk about that experience as a child, and as I understand, you just liked to be in front of people doing what you're doing.
Yeah, just, you know,
And what age, first of all?
oh, well,
See,
guess.
you
it was a very long time.
a very okay. We're not counting.
And I guess the church that I grew up at, they have a nice little legacy of musicians and singers that
Listen,
came out of it.
how many singers, black women singers, have come out of church?
Like everybody and
All
their
of the,
auntie,
start with Aretha Franklin, but you
Yeah.
could start with Ella Fitzgerald. I mean, you can go as far back as you
Yeah.
want.
And so it just seemed normal to perform or be in front of an audience, but I just took to it because it was just fun for me, you know.
The most I review my questions beforehand, and the most annoying question that I can ask, I'm going to ask now. Was there an element of religion in it, or spirituality in it, or was it really the opportunity to perform, the feeling of family and togetherness and all that?
It was spiritual for me. Like I really loved Jesus. I did.
You used the past tense. Was that
It's not-
acceptable?
It's Sunday. I just want
yeah,
to
sure,
distance
sorry.
myself from her
No,
past
but
tense
like,
there.
no, it's funny because I was talking to somebody on the phone and they remember that time and they're like, I just loved how you were just so in love with, you know, with God, you know, kind of like that.
And you appreciated the passion in that.
Yeah.
I'm going to just make a judgment. That's the passion that you use every time you open the microphone and you start singing.
Yeah, and if anything, now I feel more connected because I realize, oh yeah, I am a conduit to, you know, pass through messages or energy or whatever, you know, it is coming from that connection.
You had mentioned, and I've got it on my list, that you performed in Off-Broadway. You were in Dreamgirls.
Woo! Yeah.
And a one-woman show called A Role Once Played. How did that come about? Was that like the goal to get to Broadway? Or was it more like, well, it kind of happened, so that's okay?
I always wanted to do Broadway.
Because you have to be a performer.
Yeah, you have to be a performer to do Broadway.
No, I meant you as in your personality.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
think.
sense I've gotten from learning and reading and talking to you.
I can't just say something plain. I have to put all the this and that, you know, it's just always been me. And those projects came, I did Dreamgirls and then A Role Once Played came out of that. So, yeah.
So now let's find out about Siddiqui. So let's see. When I said earlier, I said, okay, we're ready to start, rock on. You said, no, jazz on. Why is jazz important to you? Why is that music, and why is that feeling that jazz presents, maybe in comparison to rock or whatever? What hits you?
I mean, once upon a time, it was the least judgmental of the genres for me as an artist. So, you know, if I played with a blues band, if I did something that didn't feel bluesy, they would call it out faster. Same thing with classical music, Latin, at church. But I feel like the jazz world seemed to, hey, as long as it works, whether we expect it or not.
It sounds like the F word, freedom. Freedom, no, not that other F word. Yeah. The F word, freedom, is something that you appreciate musically.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like bass players in particular are kind of locked down in the dungeon on the bass line. And, you know, I'm just more adventurous than that.
Why was that bass in somebody's house in Philadelphia?
Well, for those reasons, it was hard to find musical projects that didn't like suppress the creativity. So after a while, it's like, I'll just go do something else with my life.
And when you saw Alicia singing, it didn't occur to you that you should play that she had to give you one of these and get
I mean, it didn't occur to her either. I mean, it just sort of, if anything, it occurred to a friend of hers anytime we were in the studio, and I would offer some advice, and I'd say, give me a bass, and I'll play it. And then he would say, you guys sound really good together when it's just you two. You should do this.
Oh, so it wasn't the kind of thing that said, hey, let's form a duo, let's do it.
Definitely not.
It wasn't that.
It fell in our lap.
Yeah, I'm not a be on stage kind of personality, as I'm sure you're picking up.
Well, she makes up for that, so then you're okay. Why the bass? Or is it?
I mean, I didn't really want to play the bass. I just wanted to get out of class in 6th grade, and I saw all the kids going to band practice, and I'm like, can I come? And the teacher said, you have to play something. And I said, what instrument does nobody play? She said, no one's playing the string bass, so we need somebody to play it in orchestra.
Wow.
So, yeah, I figured I wouldn't have any competition.
That's a cosmic accident. And how did you learn to play? Did you learn to play through the structure that other people who are taught music learn to play for the music? Or is your own vision of what this instrument is, you just want to have the freedom to figure it out?
Yeah, I mean, at first I played it the way I was told in orchestra, but very quickly I started breaking the rules and listening to other things and, you know, fooling around with all the different genres and came up with my own thing.
I was right about the F word. It's freedom, man. That's what you got to have.
That's
I get
right.
that.
Yeah.
Now listen, folks. Here, he was chosen to perform with the New York State School Music Association's All-State Orchestra, and performed with other prestigious student orchestras throughout Europe. How old were you when you did that stuff?
Maybe like 15, 16 years old.
15 years old, you were touring Europe with this big guy right here.
Not that one, but yeah.
Well, no, you know what I mean. What did that give to you as a musician? Did it give anything? Or like, did you learn from it, or it's just one of the many check marks that you have as you go across?
No, it was incredible. I didn't even dream of doing something like that. So just to see that it was possible and to be in some very historic rooms and to see some, you know, just world-class musicians on that trip. It was life-changing in the way where you see where the art can go, but in a way it was also intimidating, like, there's no way I can do this for a living. Look at how good these people are.
You know, we're going to talk about this a little later, but this is why it's so important for young people to have experiences. And you did it to get out of the class. Now, listen, both my parents were teachers, and so, you know, may they rest in peace, but there is a value to things that happen outside the classroom.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
if you give the young people, I mean, that's my advocacy, if you give the young people those kinds of experiences. Okay, now, the 10 years, you went to aviation school. You did not go to music school. You did not go to, you know, learn how to do this and perfect it to the point where you can go out there. What? Wait a minute. You went to aviation school? Let's see, it's Daniel Webster College because you wanted to be a pilot.
Yeah, that was always my lifelong dream. Being from the Caribbean, you have to.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a plane parked outside. Here it is, the dream. No, go ahead. And it never happened, or you?
No,
you
it
did
happened. I became a professional pilot, and shortly after.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I have all my licenses and ratings and stuff like that.
Do you still fly?
I don't.
Or is that parked in Philadelphia where the base was
No.
parked?
I mean, I don't fly for hire. I'm the chief flight instructor of the Tuskegee Airmen program here in New York. So I teach kids to fly and help them get their starts in aviation.
Let's just talk. We'll start with you, Siddiqui, and then let's talk about influences. Now, I got a list of one of the things which is wonderful about your music is that you have no problem like there's an album of them interpreting Bob Marley songs, and so let's see. Ella Fitzgerald, Sam Cooke, Andra Day, Bob Marley, Nina Simone, Childish Gambino. This is all listed as your influences. But what about, we'll start with you, Siddiqui. What was the influences? Who did you listen to? Who inspired you outside of these obvious ones, because these are the groups you've covered?
Yeah, I wouldn't say many of the people you just mentioned were inspirational in my development as an artist. More like music that you like, that you listen to casually. But as far as when I was learning to play the bass, I had a bunch of classical music that I listened to a lot, and I'd have to play for orchestra. But when I left that world, I started to stray, let's say. I listened to a lot of Ron Carter and Marcus Miller and Mingus, and then you start getting into Miles Davis, and I'd be all over the place after a while listening to.
I don't want to overemphasize it, but I can't get past this idea that the structures are not what you're interested in.
No,
you really want to.
Well, there are a lot of patterns, let's say, that exist outside the structures that I think artists should be free to pursue. So.
Right. We're going to bring Ella Sia into the conversation, and then we're going to get back into the writing of the music that you do write. What about you? Influences?
Of course.
Who did you listen to growing up? Those kinds of things.
Of course, the cliches.
There's nothing wrong with the cliches.
Okay, fine.
I mean, I'm the Beatles and Rolling Stones and Bob Dylan. What can I tell you?
Okay. Fair enough. So, Ella Fitzgerald, Nina Simone, Billie Holiday, Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, Amel LaRue. So.
Aretha's got to be in there. Not Aretha, not as much, really.
And it's not to discredit anything, I'm not a belter.
Ah.
And I didn't realize that I wasn't. I always struggled and wanted to be that, but I realized over time, I am not a belter.
Did you take lessons to develop this, or have you really been naturally gifted in that way?
To be a
singer, to do all these things.
Yeah, I took lessons.
You
but,
did?
Yeah, thank God I took lessons, actually. I've always sang. And then, of course, I went to school for it, and I had private lessons. So that I can just use my craft in a healthy way so I can sing with longevity.
When you guys decide to play somebody else's music, who decides or who says, hey, let's do that one?
We both do. We'll
It's really the people hiring us.
Yeah, that's true.
they
it's the people. So it's the places that you go, and you do it for the audience you see in front of you.
Yeah.
Like if it's a wedding, they'll request specific songs, and we'll learn them, and then we'll say, "Hey, that was pretty cool."
Yeah, but even in our process, when we get a song request, we listen to the song. We'll try different ways of playing it, and then decide together which one feels most true to the lyrics or the energy of what the song could be.
So this is a perfect time to take a break, get you play some music for us. The first one is a cover, and the second one is an original. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready in the house? Let's have a little applause for ACUTE Inflections.
Hello, everybody. So we are going to do a few tunes for you guys, and we'll start off with this tune that we'll dedicate to Gary and Suzanne, his lovely wife. Got to say her name right, because clearly she loves him if she's going to come out on a Sunday to support him. So there we go. This one's for y'all. At last, my love has come along. My lonely days are over, and life is like a song. Oh, yeah, 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 yes, at last. The skies above are blue. My heart's wrapped up in clovers. The night looked at you. Oh, yes, I found a dream that I could speak to, a dream that I can call my own. I found a thrill to press my cheeks to, a thrill that I never known. Oh, you smile, you smile, you smile, yes. Oh, when the spell was cast, and here we are in heaven. For you are This next song, thank you. This next song is an original tune. It's called Let Go. And we're doing this one to kind of help us through this crazy time that we're in. Holding on tight to air, gripping when nothing's there, afraid to let go what we know, yet it's fading fast beyond control. Seems like life will do what it will, even though we dig our heels deeper in. Waterfalls passing day after day, smoothing every stone that's in its way. Open up to the unknown. Let it flow, see where it goes. Life is brave and uncomfortable. There's so much
dig our heels deeper in. Waterfalls passing day after day, smoothing every stone that's in its way. So open up to the unknown. Let it flow, see where it goes. Life is brave and uncomfortable. There's so much to hold when you let go. 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 Open up to the unknown. Let it flow, see where it goes. Life is brave and uncomfortable. There's so much to hold when you let go.
Who writes it? How do you decide what to write? I don't know who to ask about that. Or is it like do you come up with the song and say, hey, I got an idea, or do you sit together and say, what do we do next?
A lot of the songs,
He's laughing, and I want to find out why. So you first, and then
a
Siddiq.
lot of the songs, I'll go through something internally and I vomit out the lyrics and then say, "Here's Siddiqui, fix this for me." But we have that process, and then sometimes we do write together.
How prolific are you?
I don't know.
Every now and then you get together every couple of days and say, let's write something?
That'd be the dream. We're so busy running the business of Acute Inflections that sometimes we don't get to sit. But when we do sit,
Okay, Siddiqui, weigh in. Go ahead.
Well, I
Let's
don't
talk about
sit.
the creation of the music like Let Go, which
Yeah.
now that's the title of the latest album, right?
It is, yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the creation, like she said, is a lot of trial and error and experimentation and freestyling, and then you listen back and that sounded good and that worked, that didn't work, and sort of assemble it, from the vomit that she spits out at first. You kind of pick out the good pieces.
And when you perform like you did here, are you improvising along the way, or is it pretty, from the bass point of view, or is it pretty well scripted?
The structure of the song is there, but I'm not conscious of like which note, what beat. It's a lot of improv.
And I'll ask you each. We'll start with Siddiqui. Have you ever thought about playing in a band?
Not in a positive way. That'd be.
In other words, saying, well, the duo, it's working well.
Yeah, the
but
duo. Yeah, people call us all the time. Hey, can
They
I
do.
hire you to do this or do that? And it just feels like returning a free animal to the zoo or to the cage. So
Wow.
I'm not all that interested unless someone was open-minded and let us just do our thing without all the rules and restrictions.
You would need a jazz band that would be as open and loose as you are.
Yeah, and also as humble with our approach, because I think a lot of musicians are in a rush to show you in the audience how talented they are, and we very much want to be of service, like the best guardians to the message of the songs. So we're not trying to play a million notes a minute to impress you. We want to make sure that this song hits, that this message hits, that you walk away changed if possible.
Alicia, how good a bass player is he, and why is he a good? I know you're going to say he's a good bass player. What makes him a good bass player, and why is that music effective and the appropriate support for your singing?
He's a great bass player because he's very in tune and he's down to go outside of the box. I love that he makes the bass sound pretty. Because it can, it can be a pretty thing versus just bah, 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 bah. No, there's tone, there's percussive ability in there. There's so much more that he is willing to be curious about, and I love that he seeks that out. And I'm able to actually sing to it, like he's actually playing notes that I can hear. And
it was fun watching him play, and I really appreciated. That he took the bow away at one point and then did something else, I guess fingerpick, I don't know what it's called. I'm sorry for not knowing. All right, well, we know you're a wonderful singer. What about her singing works for your bass that makes this duo strong? And the fact that not only you play a couple of tracks together, but you perform everywhere together. What about her as a singer and performer that works for you?
Well, I think it's the contrast of a sweet, let's say, bird, angelic-like voice, but also the, I'll call it the bendiness of how she sings. The bass obviously doesn't have any frets, so it's not like a guitar or a piano where the notes are kind of set. So I'm constantly sliding in and out of tune very subtly, sometimes because I missed a note and I'm fixing it, and other times because this one note right here does sound a little better, a little sadder, a little happier when you bend it. So the fact that she's constantly bending and playing with the space and playing with the timing and riding the beat, and staying in the pocket, and not belting, so that you can appreciate all the little nuance, all the little whispery things that are going on. I think all of that just works really well together.
Which is exactly what she said about all the wonderful singers that she admires and it calls influence. And listen, Aretha Franklin is one of the greats of all time, but that wasn't the style that you sing, and that's what you just defined, right?
And funny enough, when we met and we started doing music, I tried to come from that approach. And he literally said to me, "Elle, you don't need to
don't go there.
Yeah,
don't do that.
It's just me. We're not mic'd, And that's what made me settle into that part that I always knew was there."
There was an article in the Bronx Times, which is actually how I found out about you folks. And you lived in the Bronx for a couple of years. So the first thing, Alicia, what is it about the Bronx that captivates you, that you like, that means something to you?
I like that it has a unique history, especially when it comes to hip hop, and hip hop is pretty much the cousin or the brother of jazz, and I like that there's still culture here. It's almost unsung hero of the boroughs, if I want to say.
Well, you are speaking my language. This is why we do the Bronx Music Podcast, because this is what's out there. And we talk about it. We've had hip hop people on here, and the fact that it's music that was born out of what you see around you. And it was really what Siddiqui's been talking about, an expression of freedom, like, okay, so we know all that music that came before, but we got to say what we got to say in our own vernacular, in our own language, in our own way of doing it, and in our own rhythms. And of course, we changed the world. I mean, come on now. Siddiqui, did you just want to say something about the Bronx? I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I mean, obviously, I've been doing TV here for a very long time, and it's undiscovered territory. Nobody knows. You talked about our cultures and everything. Nobody knows who we are. Did you want to add something about that?
I mean, I'll just say that we perform all over the country, all over the world, and Manhattan is where we go pay the bills. It's where you make the money. But anytime we're back in the Bronx, just the community, the vibe. This is where people are going to start singing along. You'll get someone who just jumps up and starts tap dancing or painting or drawing. It's so much more alive. It really fits our vibe, and sort of that underground, unsung hero vibe lives here versus the Matrix, the corporate overlords of the other boroughs that we won't mention.
At this moment, I feel like I don't want to say anything. I want to let your words just go, because this is what motivates me for this program and for all the other work that I do, because nobody knows who we are. I really want to ask about one perfect exponent of this, and that is one of my favorite places in the Bronx, the Renaissance Youth Center. And I know it's a favorite place. You want to just talk about it? I mean, I could talk about it forever, but why don't you explain why you support it, why you love what they're doing, because they are achieving beyond anything anybody could ever imagine. But I'll let Ella see and you, Siddiqui, you can add too.
I love that the Renaissance Youth Center exposes kids to so many different fields and skills. And it just reminds me of my childhood. You know, even though I grew up in Queens, and I grew up in the...
No, that's okay.
I
It's
still
okay.
claim it.
Listen, we love immigrants here in the Bronx. You know, that's who we are, man. Go ahead.
But even though I grew up in the hood, if I were to say, I was exposed to so many different career opportunities and skills that has carried me throughout all of my careers. And I love that Renaissance exposes the kids to things that they wouldn't normally come across.
I did a 30-minute show there, and we went from room to room, so I know exactly what you're talking about. But it does, in my mind, because that's how I got to know them, was start with music. They have an incredible music program, instruments everywhere, and the kids are brilliant singers. It's one of the things we're going to have on the podcast. Siddiqui, your thought about the Renaissance? Oh, and I should add, there's STEM. I went into a room and they were literally building models.
You're not going to leave me anything to say.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So there's
I'm a talk show host, man. I got to talk.
No, I think it's, I don't want to say it's cliche, but it's expected if you're going to have a nonprofit in the South Bronx that it probably has sports and music. But I think for me it was, mind-blowing to see them being innovative with agriculture and zoology at the same time, and so knowledgeable, and building ecosystems, and then you see the architecture, the city planning that they're doing, and then they're coding and robotics, and it's
and that reinforces what you were saying earlier about you learn the world from your trip to Europe. If we keep the kids in the classroom, we're not going to get that. Okay, you had told me that you had a song for me, and so I don't know what it is, but here we go. Let's, ladies and gentlemen, Acute Inflections.
We understand that Gary's birthday is on Tuesday.
Yes, Gary's turning, was it 95, 85, 90? Does anybody have a calculator? Can they have? 12.
In his heart, that's beautiful.
Okay.
Forever young.
Decades.
So Siddiqui wants to dedicate the following song to you.
Yeah, and it's not happy birthday, because I know you've heard that over and over and over. And 95, yeah, it probably gets old, but I think you will like this song, and I think the message is appropriate considering your condition. So, yeah, let's see.
Steve walks bravely down the street, bent and moved way down low. Ain't a sound but the sound of a sweet she goes. Ready to go. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? I hang it on the edge of your seat. And up the way the bullets rev to the sound of the beat. Another one bites the dust. I said another one bites the dust. Ain't another one gone, another one bites the dust. Hey, I'm gonna get you too, another one bites his fault. Well, hey, I'm gonna get you another one buys the door. Happy birthday.
Well, now I actually regret having told you that it was my birthday was coming up, but that's okay. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. We all feel like no matter how old you are. I mean, I'm getting into my late 90s. That's the way it goes. But you chalk it up, and another one bites the dust, and we just keep moving on. Is there anything? We'll start with you, Siddiqui. Anything you want to say on the microphone to people about music, about life that you have never said before? Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is an open microphone, and the podcasts are all over the world. There are people in Lebanon who can listen to this. There are people in Bulgaria who can listen to this. There are people in England who can listen to this. What do you want to say? What's in your head to say to people? And you're going to be next, so you better be ready.
Me.
Yeah. I mean, I think Elle and I both are on the same page that we all need as many reminders as possible that the division that you see in the media, on social media, is a distraction, and that the love and the unity, that's our real solution. That's the real path that we all need to go on. Because when we travel, we meet people that are family everywhere. And I can't look at this person like you're a person from Lebanon or you're a person from Bulgaria or wherever.
Or the Bronx.
Or the Bronx, We're all just family, just keep that in mind.
There we go. I knew I was going to get something like that. So, Alicia, he called you Elle. I like that. Go ahead, Elle. What do you got?
I think to piggyback on what he is saying, in this time of healing, we need to truly hold ourselves accountable and our households accountable. Because a lot of times, we see these big things in the media and we're like, oh, they should be charged. But it's like the very same things go on in our homes and in our communities, and we turn a blind eye to it because we don't want to truly deal with it. And the world, what you're seeing in the world is a macro of the micro of things that are being neglected in our own lives, in our family lives, in our community lives. So we really should start holding ourselves more accountable if we really want to make the real change,
Well, now I'm out of a job. You guys have just said it. That was it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, applause for ACUTE Inflections. Thank you so much. I didn't ask, and I don't really care where you got the name. It's fine. But thank you so much. They will be in Nyack on May 2nd and on Long Island May 27th. Go to ACUTEInflections.com. Once again, Alicia Douglas and Siddiqui Pierre from ACUTE Inflections. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
The Bronx Music Podcast is made possible through the services of Project Media Zone. Thanks to all who are involved, Elliot and Monica Glick, whose house this is, the artist, and they do some of the outreach as well. My buddy George Williams Jr. is the technical director, and of course, also the brains behind Project Media Zone, which is such an important concept in the Bronx, supporting programs like this with media, and that's what he does. Production assistant is Joshua Cruz. We should mention, it's a nice thing to say, the Bronx Music Podcast receives underwriting support from New York City Council members Eric Dinowitz and Althea Stevens. Additional support for this program provided by Teddy Volkswagen. Be sure to like us and share us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And you can find and share the Bronx Music Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. Our next show will be here at The Artist. We do the first Sunday. We didn't do the first Sunday in April because the first Sunday was Easter, but it will be the first Sunday in May, May 3rd at 1 p.m. Thank you again. You guys are just...
Thank you so much.
I'm a big fan of music and of the people.
Thank you.